All right, we are going to get started. Welcome to week 6 of Summer Roundtable, our conversation on tightening the knot. Over the next 3 weeks, we're going to talk about strengthening our marriages, and unlike on Sundays, we are going to have a conversation format. So this structure is going to allow us to talk specifically about some hard topics, and then create conversations at your table and with your spouse, as well as doing some activities here and at home. Every week, you have a couple activity and some homework items that you are going to do. And we also will release a resource list at the end of the series that you can take a look at. But back at the Resource Hub, there are some books and things that you can take a look at specifically to tighten the knot even further. Let's go over some ground rules before we jump into our conversation. Rule number 1 is that we have to be engaged, which means you have to talk to each other. The point of this is to have a conversation, so when we ask questions, it's not rhetorical. We want you to actually engage with your spouse and with us to be able to facilitate a conversation. The second rule is to be kind. We're all learning, and we know that sometimes our conversations can get a little tense, and some of the topics that we talk about can get a little awkward. So make sure that you're being kind to one another, and you also are all spread out, so that's great for some conversations tonight. And the third one is that it is important for us to know that we have a lot to get through. We are going to do some teaching and some discussion like we have done in the past 5 weeks, previous 5 weeks, but then we're also going to play a game tonight also to help you to connect more with your spouse and also to work on our communication skills. So we are going to pray, and then we'll jump in and get started. Father God, we thank you for this night. I thank you for these marriages that are represented here and online. God, we just pray that you would be at the center of our conversation tonight, that you would be glorified in the work that we are putting into our marriages. God, we ask that you bless that hard work in these hard conversations that we are having, and that we would be able to not just tighten the knot of our marriages, but also we would be able to be a light in our families, in our community, in our church, through the respect and the love that we are working so hard to foster in these conversations. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right. Well, tonight we are going to talk about gender. God created each person on purpose, for a purpose, as two distinct genders, male and female. In Genesis chapter 2, Adam says this, beginning in verse 23. "This is at last bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." There is a completeness that happens when men and women marry. Our partner makes up for what we lack. And when male and female join together, there is a wholeness. But our differences, if they're not understood and accepted, they can become a source of confusion and frustration rather than completeness. This is a big problem that our culture faces today. We're unwilling to see how we are different as men and women, and we are unwilling to embrace and celebrate those differences. Too often in marriage, the fundamental differences between men and women are ignored because we assume that our spouse is just like us. We evaluate our behavior and our health of our marriage according to strictly feminine and masculine standards without considering the fact that we are very, very different. I remember when we went through premarital counseling with Dave and Kathy Wheeler, we read this book by Dr. John Gray called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. And it talks specifically about these differences. Because since the beginning of time, men and women have been puzzled by each other.
So as a couple, what you're going to do is you're going to answer this question. What roles have you naturally fallen into your marriage simply because of your gender, and how do you feel about them? So talk with your spouse about those roles, and have you just naturally fallen into a rhythm? Have you discussed these things? And is there anything that you would like to change? Because it's never too late to change something in the way that your marriage is working. Friends, you're supposed to be talking to your spouse. To your spouse. Not across the room. Not across table lines because you're not married to anyone else in the room except for one person. All right, so we're going to answer this question, and we're going to talk specifically about what society says about roles in marriage with something as simple as cooking, right? So, like the world, the Brady Bunch, or Leave It to Beaver, or whatever classic TV show you want to insert, says that the woman has to cook the meals, right? And she has to provide it at a time that's convenient to when a husband walks through the door at the end of the day. The reality is, if that happened at our house, we would all starve because I don't like to cook, and I'm not bad at it. I just don't like it. So we'll eat the same thing over and over again if I have to cook. But the difference is I grew up in two different households. So I had a mom who traveled for work and was not home very often. And I had a dad who was a single dad. And so the idea of like dinner time, meal prep, grocery shopping, those were all things that I didn't really have experience in until I was older. And Robert, growing up in a home that had a mom and dad, he enjoyed cooking and still loves to cook. And so in our home, we don't let the like gender role dictate who does what in our relationship. So Dr. Les and Leslie Parrott talk about a survey that they conducted, and they asked couples, what do men need to know about women, and what do women need to know about men? Okay? And so here are what the responses were. Men say that women are too emotional, that women don't feel as much pressure to provide the family's income, that women frequently deny their real power, and women talk too much. Okay? Women say that men aren't sensitive enough, that they don't do their fair share of housework, that men are afraid to be vulnerable or out of control, and men don't listen. So this shows us that what seems essential to me can be insignificant to you and vice versa, right? We are very different. In recent years, research has discovered that men and women not only have biological differences, obviously, but psychological and professional realities as well. Biologically, women have larger connections between the two hemispheres of their brains, and they have a tendency towards superior verbal ability. In our relationship, I do not like to talk. Robert does. So even when science and things like that show this research, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's always true in every single relationship, right? Men's greater brain hemisphere is separated, and it can contribute to a slight tendency towards abstract reasoning or a superior capacity to mentally rotate objects in space. Psychologically, women are frequently using their senses as a part of their identity, right? So men tend to find their sense of self through being separate. Women sometimes do it based on relationships. And professionally, men are more often focused on long-range goals, while women are frequently more attentive to the process by which the goals are achieved. The story of creation underscores the fundamental fact that our need for each other because of our differences, Adam living in the only, oh, sorry, I can't read. Adam, who was living in the only paradise that ever existed on earth, he did not feel pain, he did not shed tears, right? But even in that perfect paradise, he did feel loneliness. And God was determined that it was not good for man to be alone, and so something was missing, and that is what prompted God to create Eve. So if you take a look on your SYMBIS assessment, we're going to look on page 13 tonight. You are going to read through the paragraphs at the very top of page 13, and then you're going to take a few minutes with your spouse and talk specifically about what stands out. You're going to read through each one, and then you're going to talk about how accurate you think your paragraph is, okay? So I'm going to read mine, and I'm going to say, yes, this is accurate, or no, this is not accurate towards me, because again, like we've talked about, it is not a 100% foolproof thing. There are things that can change and fluctuate, and things that may or may not specifically be accurate towards you. So take a look at that, read each of your paragraphs, and then discuss together how accurate you think those things are.
All right, your spouse, by virtue of being the opposite sex, thinks, feels, and behaves differently than you do. These differences, if understood, can become a great source for intimacy. What's that? Oh, are you missing this?
Yeah, you only gave us our symbols today.
Oh, yeah, take my bad. Here's a whole packet. Just take just this. Put that down. Now you can have this. There you go. But you're gonna miss. I have a copy of this page. I'll give it to you in a moment. Okay. So your spouse thinks, feels, and behaves differently than you. But if these differences, if we can understand them, they will become a great source for intimacy in our marriage. And while we are, in fact, wired differently, we have biological differences and psychological differences, our gender differences have as much to do with biology as they do with the way that we are raised. But we often have trouble accepting or appreciating our differences when it comes to gender. So, whatever gender differences we uncover in our relationships, the solution to move through and celebrate those differences is empathy. When we put ourselves in each other's shoes, we're able to overcome any issue that keeps us from connecting on a deeper level. So, we're going to do this activity together called Bring on the Empathy. And we're going to talk specifically about how to foster and grow empathy within your marriage. So, we're going to give you some time to get this activity done, and then we'll come back together and continue our discussion.
Do you want me to read it to you? So you don't have to squint? I can read it to you. Okay.
You need my glasses?
It's fine. Robert puts too many words per slide.
This is what it looks like when I make the slides. Kelly makes the slides. Well,
It's fine.
the last 2 weeks I've made the slides.
Mine are better.
It's kids takeover.
Kids takeover.
Kelly's making everything.
Okay.
I generally put whole paragraphs, and she generally puts sentences. So. Empathy. The one that says.
Yes, you are writing as your spouse. So you are being Charlie, Charlie is being you.
So number 6, would you have different financial responsibilities or pressure? So if you were Jason, would you feel different pressures financially, or would there be things that you need to do financially that you wouldn't normally do as Heather? If not, then
Would you buy less trucks? Yes or no?
like for instance, so I pay all of the bills. So if Kelly was me, then she would have the responsibility of making sure when the bills were paid, out of which account, with which paycheck. So that's not something she worries about, because that's something that makes her stressed. Doesn't make me stressed at all, so I just do that, and she doesn't have to ever think about whether the bills are paid or when. If I died today, she would have to open up our bank account and figure out when are the bills paid.
I would move in with you.
Yeah.
Because you cook and you would pay my bills. Thank you so much. I'm glad I have a backup plan.
I prefer not to die, though. So, like, if I show up missing, now you know. Yeah, start looking.
Start looking. It's fine. What's our life insurance policy?
Sadly, financially, I think I am worth more dead than alive. All right. So when you consider all of the gender differences that are important to communication between the sexes, and you try to make sense of them, you will invariably risk oversimplification, which I'm going to do right now. Generally speaking, men analyze and women sympathize. It's as simple and as difficult as that. Research repeatedly shows that, with few exceptions, men focus on achievements and women focus on relationships. So when gender differences emerge in your marriage, it's important to not view your spouse as evil or as the enemy, because the way that you think and behave and feel is different than your spouse. And so, generally speaking, men are focused on achievements, women are focused on relationships. So when a gender difference occurs and it is relational, and your wife is frustrated with you because you're not being relational enough, you have to realize that, yes, you as the man need to be more relational, but also, wives, you need to realize your husband, this doesn't come naturally to them. It's not how they are more often naturally wired. The majority of men are pragmatic. They focus on future goals, and they need to believe the practical value of that goal. So men will justify what activities they do based on how it will help them accomplish their future goals, right? So what that means is that men might say, well, if I go to this auction, I might be able to buy a truck. Whereas my wife wants me to watch a show with her. Well, that show is not going to help me meet this future goal, and so I want to go do this. Men like words like progress and useful. The majority of women, though, focus on feelings and activities just for the sake of those feelings and activities, right? Unlike men, women can go read a book outside just for the sake of reading a book outside. Whereas if I'm reading a book because I want to gain knowledge to use for something to accomplish said goal. Not that women aren't like that, but generally speaking, they focus on and enjoy activities just for the sake of the activity. They don't need a goal, they simply enjoy the moment. It's something that I'll say as a man, I can learn from, to just sit back and enjoy the moment. I struggle with that. Women like words like connected and relational. This is why most men don't feel the need to have lengthy discussions about their relationship. The differences that you bring to the table as women and as men are good and should be celebrated. Typically, men try to meet the needs that men value, and women try to meet the needs that women value. The trick is recognizing that your needs are not the same. Wives cannot meet the needs of their husbands by doing what they would do for another woman. And husbands cannot meet the needs of their wives by doing what comes naturally to a man. Both husbands and wives have to learn how to stretch themselves beyond their natural inclinations and take their spouse's needs into consideration when they are working to meet them. So we've provided for you this week, one of your workbook exercises is this couples inventory. And this is going to help you discover your gender role assumptions and how they influence your decisions and how they build intimacy or tear down intimacy in your marriage.
We're going to explore those differences together because there are 3 things that every husband should know about his wife.
And there's 3 things that every wife should know about their husband.
So in a marriage, a wife's most basic needs are to be cherished, to be known, and to be respected. Okay? So without meaning to, a husband can completely miss one of his wife's most important needs, which is to be cherished, because honestly, most of us don't really know what that word means. So we can't do it if we don't know what the word means, right? So this is often overlooked because we don't feel the need for it as deeply as women do. So as a man, you don't need to feel cherished. And if you don't quite understand what it means to cherish your wife, it's very easy to overlook that, right? But that doesn't discount its validity, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to give your wife what she needs. Your wife needs to feel cherished, and she needs to know, when it comes down to it, that she's number one in your life, right? Like that is the definition of what it means to feel cherished. Like, you are the person. You are number one in their life, okay? If it came down to an evening with your friends or a night with your wife, she needs to know that you would choose her. And not because you have to, but because you want to, because you love her, and she's so pretty, right? So what can you do?
That doesn't mean, though, that you have to choose her. She needs to know that you're willing to choose her. That doesn't mean that as a man, you can't go out with your friends. Right. But you also can't neglect your wife to the point where she feels like all you do is go out with your friends. She needs to know that if it came down to it, I'm going to cancel my plans with my friends and spend time with her.
Right. So consider how often you say, I love you. Okay? Some men don't feel the need to say those words, but every wife wants to hear them. She has a need to hear the words, I love you. Your wife needs evidence that you're thinking about her during the day. And it can be something very simple, like a gift when you come home, or even just like a quick phone call or a text that says, you're on my mind. That can actually change the dynamic of your day if you are a wife, okay? And as a man, you probably have no idea the effect that you can have on your wife by being gentle and tender and just making her feel like she's cared for.
No one plays as significant a role in meeting a man's unique needs as his wife. So husbands, most basic needs in a marriage are to be admired, to have autonomy, and to enjoy shared activity. Being appreciated is a man's primary need. He measures his worth through his achievements, big and small, and he has a need inside of him to be recognized. So when a woman seeks appreciation, she is more accurately wanting to be understood and validated. Men, when they're seeking appreciation, they find their worth more by what they do, while women find their worth more by who they are. When women do not receive admiration from their spouse, they tend to be more motivated to try to earn that admiration. But when a man does not receive admiration from his spouse, he actually loses motivation to try. Without a feeling of being admired, a man's energy is drained. He soon feels inadequate and incapable of giving support. So without being admired, men lose their will to give. You have no idea the critical damage a statement to your man's personal power is. So when you say something critical to your husband about what they do or how they do something, you don't understand how damaging that is to them. He responds to not being admired in the same way that you do when he invalidates your feelings, when he says your feelings are not important, or he shows you that your feelings are not important. It is demoralizing. Women many times believe that they can actually manipulate their man to give more by withdrawing their appreciation, but that never works. It always has the opposite effect. You cannot fake admiration, okay? It's a genuine need in a man's life, and it has to be given genuinely from their spouse.
The second basic need that a woman has in a marriage is to be known. For a woman, being understood means having her feelings validated and accepted. When it comes to marriage, something that makes men want to solve their wives' problems instead of understand them. And this goes back to when we've talked about asking, is it a fix it or is it a feel it problem? Often wives will tell their husbands about something, and the husband passively listens until they've heard enough, and then they're ready to move on to other things. Then they'll offer advice. They will lecture rather than listen. Studies show that men say 3 times as many words in public as they do in private, while women say 3 times as many words in private as they do in public. I don't know if that's true in our house. We both like to talk.
I don't know if it's true in our house, but I did think that was a very interesting research that men will say publicly far more than they will say privately, but their spouse, their wife, says the opposite. She shares far more in private than public, and I think that's an interesting thing.
So to meet your wife's important need to be known, husbands, you need to actively listen to her, reflect back to her what she's saying and feeling, and not just check the boxes of actively listening and reflecting back, but also to genuinely want to understand her. I think it's fair to say that women are very odd creatures, and sometimes we do not know what we need and we do not know what we want, and sometimes that is not fair. But if you genuinely want to understand her, it does get easier to figure out those nuances, okay? We just want our feelings validated and accepted. And your wife needs to have an experience where she doesn't have to explain everything to you, right? Instead of explaining why they should see it that way, like just listen and have a conversation where you're not trying to debate each other. And that's sometimes where tension comes and momentum slows in a marriage, is you're trying to debate each other when it's really just about listening and reflecting those things back.
Yeah, and oftentimes husbands try to explain to their wife why the way they see the world is wrong. And that doesn't help anything at all. It actually creates more tension and more frustration. So what wives need is to hear, or they need us as husbands to hear what they're saying and understand what they're saying and validate what they're saying, not trying to explain to them why they're wrong about feeling, thinking, or seeing the world in that way.
Yeah. Listening to your wife talk without offering quick solutions is one way that might be challenging for you, but it is a very simple way to make sure that your wife's need to feel known is met.
So men and women cope with stress differently, which brings me to the second thing a husband needs in a marriage. He needs to have autonomy. Dr. John Gray says in his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, that men, when faced with stress, become increasingly focused and withdrawn, while women become increasingly overwhelmed and emotionally involved. One of a man's most basic needs is to be autonomous. When a man is under stress, maybe because of work pressure or an important deadline is coming up, he requires space. This is true of me. When I get stressed, I really enjoy sitting on our back patio and smoking a pipe or smoking a cigar to just de-stress. And I just want to be left alone. I don't want anybody around me.
Except for Banks.
Yeah, one of our dogs loves when I smoke a cigar because he will sit right there with me. But there is this need inside of men that is hard to explain because I don't like to be alone. I love to be around people. I could be in a crowded room and be friends with everyone. I love to be around people. But there is something in me as a man that needs space when I am processing or stressed or just have a busy week. I need that time alone to just relax and be on my own. When men are under stress, they become absent-minded, unresponsive, absorbed, and preoccupied. Unlike women, men typically don't want to talk about the situation. They don't want to be held or comforted until they've had time to themselves. Now, that part I don't think is true of me. I want to talk about the situation, sometimes to the point where it's frustrating and annoying because I will talk a topic to death. But part of our need for autonomy is a man's need to have time to regroup. They might come home from a long day of work and they might take some time to scroll through their phone or read the newspaper or maybe even just water the lawn, something that simple that gives them a moment to decompress and to process before they engage in their relationship. It's a guy thing. I don't really know how to explain it, but when you give your husband the space that he needs, whether you understand it or not, you will gain a much happier husband.
The third need that a woman has in marriage is to be respected. And I think this is one that most husbands can understand, right? Because that's something that men also have a need for. But women feel insecure and they lose their sense of self. And so there's a number of ways for husbands to be able to actually show respect to their wives. And again, because we're different and we have those biological and psychological differences, the way that I show respect to Robert is not going to mirror how he's going to show respect to me. But first, this goes back to what you were talking about earlier, is don't try to change or manipulate or debate her in her needs, her wishes, her values, right? Like, those are not malleable. Like, those aren't easily moldable for you to change them, right? You just need to honor them. And so respecting your wife also means including her in decisions. Now, just because Robert takes care of paying all the bills doesn't mean that I have no say in what we do, what we spend money on. It doesn't even mean that he is the financial breadwinner of our house, right? It's that being included in your decisions together. We commonly find that husbands typically have a lot of the decision-making power, and that's destructive, but it's also not biblical, right? Adam and Eve had equal weight given to them, even though Adam was created first. So building your wife's self-esteem and sense of security by asking for her input when you can is very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very easy way for her to feel like you are valuing her, and it's a very easy way for her to feel cherished even. So they're all kind of connected. When you do one, it kind of hits all of those other needs that your wife has, okay? So respecting your wife also means supporting her in fulfilling her dreams and aspirations. Respect says, I support you, you're valuable to me, and you don't have to try to be different than who you are. In return, a woman is able to relax, and she does not have this compulsive need to prove herself as an equal, but will automatically feel as an equal, and that then in turn will transition to what a man needs in wanting to spend time together with shared activities.
Right. So the third need that a man has in marriage is shared activity. One of the greatest gaps between husbands and wives is their notions, their understanding of emotional intimacy. For most women, intimacy means sharing secrets or talking things over or cuddling, things like that. But a man builds intimacy very differently. He connects by doing things together. Remember, we talked about how men focus on achievement. So working in a garden or going to a movie with his wife gives him this feeling of closeness. Husbands place a surprising importance on having their wife as recreational companions. And a question that often comes up is, well, what do we do if we don't really have many interests in common? What if we don't really do anything together that we both enjoy? Like an example of that is, I like to do puzzles. Kelly hates them, right? So I know there's no quicker way to start a fight than to bust out like a 1,000-piece puzzle, right? Because she just hates them. And that's fine. I can sit and do a puzzle on my own. But
Can we just talk about that for just like 2 seconds? Like, listen. There is no point. You are going to put hours into that puzzle. You are going to look at it, maybe post a picture on social media, and then you take it apart and put it back in the box.
It's the achievement. I have completed the puzzle. The puzzle is done. It's just, again, it's how men and women.
No.
Yeah.
Great. You two can do puzzles together. Charlie and I will go do something else.
I like to do puzzles because in order to de-stress, generally speaking for me, I need to do something. So if I'm de-stressing, I'm going to do something that activates my mind in a different way than my mind is normally activated. So something that's really relaxing. I was talking in staff meeting this week, and someone was making fun of me for it. I said, sometimes, probably. Sometimes when I'm stressed, I will go into the food pantry and just stock shelves because I know when I walk out, I can walk out and say, I did something. I've completed this task. Many times what the nature of ministry is you don't ever really complete any one task because you're constantly redoing, or if I complete a sermon, I'm immediately starting on the next one. So there's just something about that. That's how I relax. But a lot of times we ask this question, how do we do something together when the things he likes to do, I don't like to do, or the things she likes to do, I don't like to do? The answer is simple. Grow your interest. Find some things that you can do together. Don't allow your spouse to drift apart because you can't find a way to enjoy something together. So we're going to help you with that tonight. We've got this little activity called Fun Together, okay? So I want you to take a few minutes to complete that. You're going to list 15 to 20 activities that you enjoy. Not your spouse, but things you enjoy, okay? Then, once you each have your 20 activities, you're going to compare list, and you're going to circle any activities that you have in common. Then, you're going to make a list of 5 activities that you're willing to try from your spouse's list, right? So like on my list is doing puzzles. It's not on Kelly's list, but that could be one of the 5 items that she would like to try in order to have shared activities, okay? So write out a list of 20 activities you enjoy, then you're going to compare lists and circle the ones you have in common, and then you're going to choose as a husband what are 5 activities my wife does that I would like to do, and as a wife, what are 5 activities my wife or my husband does that I'm willing to try. All right. So if you learn to meet your husband's need for recreational companionship, you will discover that you're not only husband and wife, but best friends too.
Besties. That's special. All right. All right. So you're going to take a look at page 13 of your Symbis, right? And at the bottom, you're going to find this little triangular shape. And it has your top 5 needs as individuals in your marriage. So I want you to take a few minutes, read through yours, read through your spouse's, and then see how they compare. Do you have any of them that are the same? Do you have any of them that are the same in the same spot? And how can you meet your spouse's needs? And how can they meet yours? And if one of them is sex, look at your Spice It Up challenge. That's easy. Okay. So we have a workbook exercise this week called Your Top 10 Needs. So it's in there. And this will help you explore the needs that you have in your marriage further this week.
This packet.
It's in your packet.
It's the last page.
It kind of looks like a golf scorecard. So you're not going to do that right now, but take some time this week, look over those words, and you're going to basically rank them as a scale of 1 to 7. How important are they to you? Okay? So now we're going to play the newlywed game. Da, da, da. I don't know what the theme song is to the newlywed game. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, so what you're going to do,
Couple or every person?
every person is going to get 10 index cards. So you can put all of your papers away. Every person's going to get 10 index cards. The way that it's going to work is you are going to separate yourselves from your spouse because you can't cheat. You cheaters. So let's do, yeah, you can stay at your tables. Just separate and don't cheat. How it's going to work is I am going to ask a question, and the answer is going to be one of your two names, right? So, like, I'm either going to write Robert or Kelly for every answer. I'm going to ask the question. You have to match your spouse in order to get a point, okay? So, like, let's say the question was, who loves puzzles? Which spouse loves puzzles? I would write Robert. He would write Robert. If we match, we get a point. Got it? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. I need, Robert, when you come back, will you grab me a pen so I can keep score? Because we do have a prize for the winners. Thank you so much. Delightful. All right. What'd you say? Ooh, then you have to both match, both of you. It'd have to be both. All right. So you can what?
I'm playing this game.
Oh, we're going to play? Okay, great. We can't win, though.
I understand that, but I'm going to
Sorry.
win for the sake of winning.
Bragging rights?
Right.
We're very competitive in our house.
So are we, so much as Heather won't play any games with me and the kids anymore? We don't attack, we got 1 year for Christmas, me and the kids ganged up on her.
Oh, I know. I won't play spoons with your child. She's ferocious. Yeah, she asked me if we could play with knives one day, and I was like, you are insane. Okay, so here's how it's going to work. I'm going to read the question. You're going to write it down, and then we're going to say 3, 2, 1, flip. So we're flipping at the same time, and then you have to let us know if you matched or not. Okay? You good? Are these mine? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I lied. The first question is not one of your first name. The first two questions is not your name, not somebody's name. It's an actual question. The rest of them are. So, where did your first kiss happen? Where did your first kiss happen? I'm just saying. All right. You guys are done? You guys done? Jason, quit cheating. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1, flip. Yeah. Did you match? Okay. Cribs match. Did you guys match? Okay. Pearsons, did you guys match? Okay. We matched.
Andrew's match.
Yes.
Cool.
Where was your first kiss? A bar. Nice. The fair.
Pearson, since you got it wrong.
There's some discrepancy over here. They don't even know. Where's you guys? At a fair? Wow, we need to go to a fair apparently. Wow. Okay. All right. You ready? What food? This can just be like the main food. What food was on the menu at your wedding?
I didn't eat it. We ran out of food. I'm gonna guess.
What food was on the menu at your wedding?
Yeah, I'm not positive. I'm gonna guess.
Oh, we didn't answer ours.
It's passed.
You just don't want to say. All right. Everybody ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1, flip.
Chicken?
Oh, yeah. It was chicken pasta. Oh, we didn't match, though. It was chicken Alfredo.
It was. I was gonna say it was chicken, right? I remember when
Did
we
you guys
taste
match?
tested and it was good, but I never actually ate it at
No.
the wedding.
No, we matched. We got
Okay.
married at the courthouse, so we didn't have food at the wedding.
You guys matched?
Yeah, look at you guys. Oh, there. Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you have? Wow, that's nice.
That was my second guess. What'd you guys have?
I
Barbecue.
think we had chicken and roast beef.
I remember I didn't eat it.
Yeah, we didn't
What
eat.
did you get? And you didn't match? Oh, I guessed.
Okay. You ready?
Qu-
We went to Hannibal to get married, so we didn't have, there was no food at the wedding.
Who spends the most money on clothes? Who spends the most money on clothes?
Okay,
Whatever-
how are you defining clothes? Are you saying for themselves or for the family?
No, like as an individual.
Okay,
Like if
on
I
yourself.
like if I looked in your closet, who spends the most on clothes?
So not for your kids.
Yeah, your kids don't count. I don't know.
Whippersnappers.
I don't actually know.
Oh, I know this one.
Uniforms don't count.
Okay, ready? Do you wear them? They do count. You wear them. They're clothes.
So does all my health and all.
Yeah, but only counts
But
what
it's
you
for
spend on
you.
you, not your employees.
And if Heather buys them, then they go to her.
Right.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, flip. Yeah, Robert.
It's definitely me. Far and away me.
Did you guys match?
I have so many clothes, it's not even funny.
Did you guys match? Joe?
Problem is I have clothes that I can still wear that I don't have before.
Yeah, we know Jason.
I keep clothes that I hope one day maybe I'll still wear, but it's not looking good.
It's not looking good. Okay, who said I love you first?
This might be an interesting car ride home.
Who said I love you first?
That's all right. She can't drive.
You guys good? You good? You good? All right, 3, 2, 1, flip. Nice. Did you match? Did you match? Yeah, yeah, nice. All right. Who is a better dancer?
This next one.
Drunk or sober?
Doesn't matter. A dance is a dance. A dance is a dance. I know what I'm gonna put, but we're not gonna match. I know.
I know, I'm sitting here trying to think, what would you say?
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
These questions are too hard.
Who's the better dancer? Ready? 3, 2, 1, flip. What'd you say? Yes. Yeah, I am a better dancer.
Yeah.
Do you guys match? Okay.
I mean, we can say that counts.
All right. Did you guys match? No. Wow.
Okay, who did you say was
Yeah.
the better dancer?
Yeah.
Who did you say? Yeah.
Okay, let's have a dance-off right now, and we'll judge.
She knows. She's like, oh, you're not the best dancer.
Okay. One thing we will never, ever agree on is blank.
It is not a
I know that's what
name.
I said. I thought most of them were names, but I was incorrect.
What is one thing we would never, ever agree on?
You have to match perfectly. Yes. Just one. And it has to match.
I don't think we're going to match, but this is accurate.
You have to match perfectly. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, flip.
Number of animals in the house.
Oh, that's a great one. I put puzzles are fun.
Can't use an example from tonight.
That's a great one, actually. Okay. Did you guys match? What did you say? Mother? You both said nothing? Oh, well, you matched.
You would never agree on nothing?
Never. Like, it's not going to be, there's nothing that we can never come to an agreement.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
The number of animals in our house.
That's
I
actually-
want 0,
that's a
and
really
we
good
have
answer.
like a gajillion.
We don't have a gajillion. We have 2.
You can give me the most.
Archie, that's my dog who
Did you guys
actually
match?
doesn't love me anymore. He's just.
I'll take him and he can love me.
Did you guys match? No.
What did you say?
I said rubber man and kids.
And you said we have.
Oh, we have enough guns.
What did you guys say?
Like we always joke around about who's a mutt with my grandson, so
Toys in the bar.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
But did you match? Oh.
No. Okay.
Question came from left field.
All right.
Trying to keep you on your toes.
All right, here we go. Ready? When the two of you are in the car together, who controls the radio?
Okay, is this who should control the
No.
radio or who actually does?
Controls the radio? Whatever you.
Kids take over. Driver controlled radio.
Your marriage is your marriage. Ignore your kids.
Car rules. Driver controlled radio. We're in the car together.
Okay,
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, flip.
Kelly does, Robert should.
I put the kids really, but DJ Kelly.
Yeah.
Did
That's why I
you-
like riding in
Did
the
you
car
guys
alone.
match?
So I can choose what I want to listen
Charlie
to.
and Brandy, did you guys match? No. Did you guys match? Yes. Okay. Pearsons? Yes. Nice work. Yeah. All right.
That's pretty much stuck on one radio.
All right. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Who is most likely to lose the TV remote? Who is most likely to lose the TV remote?
That's why all over TVs are the same.
I actually saw something where this guy took his TV remote, drilled a hole through it, and put a dog toy on it so that whenever it fell somewhere, it wouldn't go under the couch or in the cushion.
smart idea.
They just had a big, like, dog bone
I
attached
saw
to it. I was
somebody
like,
do
"That's
that with
good
a wooden
idea."
spoon on their dog's collar.
Does it work?
There you go.
No. Do you lose it? Oh. The benefit is all of our TVs are synced to my phone, so even if I lose it, I can pretend like I didn't because I just pull up my phone.
Or when he's being a butt munch and I'm trying to control the TV and he's doing it on his phone.
On my phone, I do that all the
Little
time.
brat.
She's trying to pick the show, and I'm
Such a
going up and
brat.
down on my phone, so the cursor's going everywhere.
All right. Who's most likely to lose the TV remote? Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Ellie. Yep.
Yes?
Did you match?
Yes. Yes. Great. All right. You ready? Where are we at? Oh, okay. Who takes the longest to get ready to go somewhere?
No, this would be.
This is like
This is getting ready.
Getting ready. Like a shower, makeup.
So when they're actually in the house.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, is that running back in and out of the house?
I think Sunday morning when he's trying to get to church on time.
Like he can be sitting there saying, come on, let's go, and we're all.
Then I'm going to feed the dogs.
Oh yeah, that happens.
It's like, dude, like,
Yeah, that happens at our house too.
yeah, they'll live for an hour. I promise.
Why do you gotta be like that? Don't be pointing to me.
All right.
I am beautifully and wonderfully made.
Great.
Right.
All right, ready?
The Lord wants me to be late.
3, 2, 1, go.
It's me.
Yeah, it is.
I used to get made fun of
Yes.
when we were dating by her grandma because I was late all
Yes.
the time. Never. Now I'm the one who's almost always
Yes.
on time.
Nice. Yes. Oh, guys.
I'm far better than at being on time, but I do take. It's because I wake up with 15 alarms earlier to get ready.
That's another thing we'll never agree on. How
The
many
number of alarms
alarms?
necessary? 6.
2.
Every 15 minutes, 30 minutes before I need to wake up, and then every 15 minutes from the point I need to wake up until
All right.
I'm late.
Number next. Where do you usually end up when it's time to eat out?
If it's just us,
Yes, not with your kids. How do you have so many cards?
I haven't been putting them down.
Oh, I was like, I have one card left.
'Kay.
I know. I'm
Okay,
like, I have one
this
card
is,
left.
This is my answer, but I have to show you something funny. That's my answer, so I'm not cheating. Okay, ready?
You're not wrong.
All right. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah! Mexican. Yes? Nice.
Huh?
no, I love moms too. We matched McDonald's, we matched Jindy's. You wanna go to Columbia?
Oh. Yeah. Did you match?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What does that mean?
He wrote steak and I wrote Texas Roadhouse.
That counts.
That is pretty close.
I could have guessed Texas Roadhouse
Yeah,
for you guys.
for sure.
Can we have a tie?
Yeah,
We do have a tie?
yeah.
Yeah, but you go there for
All right, I'm going to hand out cards.
Okay. So, this one, we have a tie. Tiebreaker. Tiebreaker. All right, you ready? I'll take it. Don't throw it at me. Okay. What is the worst gift one of you has ever gotten the other one? What is the worst gift that one
I
of
already know
you
this.
has ever gotten the other one? No, either
just
one.
in general.
Yes,
Yeah. So it could be one that you gave him or one that he gave
but
you.
like
It is
you have
the
to
worst.
agree, it is the worst gift that's ever been given. Yes, like mutually exchanged. I'm an excellent gift giver, so.
She definitely is.
I am very, like, I know what he likes, so I don't fail on the gift he has. He doesn't fail because, like,
Heather, you don't buy gifts. Maybe you should buy her a gift, Jason.
Remember when he said to help her feel cherished? You know, a little gift.
I buy her flowers and she's like, what did you do?
What did you do?
You gave us 3 children.
What'd you do? All right.
I know what mine is.
The worst gift ever exchange.
If we match this one, then
then we're awesome.
yeah, but that means that I'm the worst gift giver ever.
All right. You ready?
Hmm.
3, 2, 1, go. Yeah! I was so,
We did
I was
get it
so
right.
mad.
One time she said she wanted Christmas lights, like those big bulb Christmas
fountain.
lights. And so I was like, oh man, I'm going to get her those for Christmas. So on Christmas Eve, I got her a box of Christmas lights.
I was like, thank you! Thank you! I was like, now I can put these in a box
Exactly.
for 11 months? Nice work. Nice
All right,
work. Nice
did you
work.
get it? Did you match?
We say paper.
We said none. None. We don't get gifts.
None.
Pearsons, did you match?
No?
You guys match?
That was a pretty rough question.
You're welcome.
Now you have something to fight about on the way home.
Great.
All right, so who won?
We're so glad that we could bring this game to you. It's wonderful. All right.
I'm gonna turn off the string. You guys say who won?
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see. Well, we did, but it's okay. We can't win. All right. So the winner goes to Chad and Marie. Here's your prize. Yeah, don't be sore losers. It's fine. You can clap for the winners. You can clap for the winners. I had a lot of fun coming up with those. There was a bunch of them online, and I was like, ooh, that would be so